Hey, this is Belisa Chess, and this is the part 2 of the Q&A video from way back when. For a very long time, I promised you guys a second part to the Q&A. We're going to cover the chess questions first, and then slowly transition into more personal topics, if you're interested. Abina Katana asks, will you make a video how to reach 1000 or 1500 elo, like what you should practice, how you should analyze and read games, and mistakes? I know there's a lot of videos out there that are like how to get to 1000 elo, how to get to X elo. I have never watched any one of those videos ever. Because I think I've always really valued my personal experience and journey. And that I knew that things would come to me at my own pace, and I wanted them to come to my own pace. I don't think I need to rush the process. I don't need to get to a certain elo by X amount of time to like... And I thought that those lessons I would naturally just absorb and learn on my own. Because that's kind of part of the process for me. So I think if you're interested in that, there's tons of content out there that could tell you how to do such and such. I personally would not be able to tell you because I don't even know what those would be. And I think because every person is different, how you would arrive at 1000 elo is different than how I would. For example, some people have literally told me that they've just practiced one opening and played one opening up to like they got to 1500 by just playing one thing. That's not how I did it. I played everything under the sun, that whatever I wanted to do, d4, c4, e4, until pretty much also 1500. So, right, that's me. You could be different. I also didn't really do tactics, that much tactics. Some people are like, you don't need anything but tactics to reach 2000. So I don't think I can tell you how to reach X elo if your style and your preferences are different. If you love puzzles and training puzzles, then by all means do thousands and thousands of puzzles, you will get to X elo. If you are an opening nerd and love learning lines and feeling very prepared and feel anxious if you're not like 10 moves deep prepared, then by all means pick up an opening and just learn it to death. You will also learn win a bunch of games that way. Etc, etc, etc. You have different styles and personalities than me, and so you should do what fits you. And I couldn't tell you what suits you because I need more information. Luis Felipe asked a very interesting question. He asked, how much of odds and material do you reckon would make it even for you against Hikaru? I would say queen and then some. Like maybe a queen and 3 moves or something. Maybe. At least the queen for drawing odds. I don't think I could actually manage without that. Eddie Rand asks a really good question. What bothers me most of Over the Board? Oh yeah, okay, I like this a lot. I don't really enjoy the personal aspect of Over the Board chess. I don't really like looking my opponent in the eye or knowing who they are and seeing the expressions on their faces and seeing the loss and defeat and even tears in their eyes when they lose. I don't feel great crushing them. I mean, I will feel really happy if I won nicely, but I don't like seeing my opponent cry. Reversely, right? I also don't like seeing them gloat and be really cocky when they're winning and I'm just getting crushed. Like, I don't enjoy that either. I'm not that selfless to be like, oh, I'm just happy that you're crushing me. No, I also don't like that. So I kind of just don't like the personal aspects of it. And I think, again, if you're like really competitive and you enjoy, like, that gives you joy. Like seeing your opponent get crushed. I think it does actually give certain people joy. Then that could be your thing. But for me, I like the impersonal aspects of online chess. And that to me is almost like a computer game. It is a computer game. It's nothing personal. It's just like, I beat you, I got elo, let's move on. Or you beat me, okay, let's move on. That's why I normally don't like free matches or playing with my viewers. Less and less so these days because it's, whenever it's personal or like I know the person or there's some kind of personal relationship, it's just weird. It's like, I am competitive enough that I don't want to lose and I don't want to feel bad when I lose. But then it's like, if I feel too like nice and casual about it, then I may not take it seriously enough to win. So it's like, like, you know, so I'd rather just not know the person. Gali Ria X asks, Do you never get like super mad and want to smash your mouse or something when you lose? No, just me. Okay. And WTY says, he blundered stalemate and then he smashed his mouse. I responded, ain't nothing worth smashing my $10 mouse for. Listen, for real. I don't know if there's anything worth smashing my $10 mouse for. You could tell me that I lost all my savings. Will smashing my mouse make it better? No, it will just sink $10 more into the whole thing. I don't care what it is. My mouse is precious. Imagine smashing my mouse every time I lose a game. I would have to go through at least like a batch of replacements every month. Like, that would make this a very expensive venture. I want to say, in seriousness, that if you do have a problem like wanting to hit things after you lose, then you should actually learn some anger control methods. It will help you in life, because losing a game is probably one of the more casual things in life. There are much, much, much worse things in life that could happen to you. Breakups, deaths, friggin', I don't even know, tsunamis, like losing your fortune. I have no idea. Like cancer. There's so many things that could happen. If you're gonna lose your shit over a chess game, and again, that's just one game, you gotta learn some control. Like breathe. I don't know what else. Meditate. Go wiki it. Go how to wiki it. Okay, do you have any kind of schedule or minimum weekly, daily games you play? So I basically don't have a schedule. I just do whatever I want. One day I might want to look at strategy. Another day I want to look at games or do tactics. It's kind of just like what I feel like. But all of those things help. They all help nourish the soil for me. So I'm kind of just doing kind of more laissez-faire approach to the whole thing. Okay, A Boy is Invisible asks, okay, I just picked up chess and I am not seeing the moves. Like, I can't really see beyond one move. Does that mean it's impossible for me to get to a high level of play in the future? I don't think your current play reflects your potential, and I also think that's just natural. I think when we all start off, we pretty much don't calculate at all. We're just making obvious moves like, oh, is that a pawn? I'm going to take the pawn. There's really no calculation involved. As your rating improves, you will naturally start calculating more. And you just start thinking deeper and deeper. But that comes with a certain comfort with the basic game, and it comes with time. Like, if you're not capable of not hanging pieces left and right, then that means you're like, first, don't hang the pieces left and right, and then the calculation will come as you improve. And that's just natural, because I started off not calculating, and now I can say that I do calculate, even if it's flawed. But I'm getting better at it. Ferris McLaurin asks, who is my favorite chess player and why? And many months ago, Abraham Warshong asked the same thing, and I promised I might answer, and it took me an effing long time. My favorite chess player today, well, let's first talk about of all time. My favorite chess player of all time is probably Fischer. And let's just say that I have not seen enough chess games to form a very conclusive opinion. But I love Fischer. His personal politics and preferences and ideologies aside, was just brilliant. He's brilliant. His dedication, his utter obsession with the game is admirable to me. I'm an obsessive person, and I tend to like people who show remarkable obsession, or at least I'm fascinated by them. People like Van Gogh, Malcolm X, certain personalities with very strong, intense, obsessive kind of drive have always delighted me, have always fascinated me as personas. And so Bobby Fischer, I like the fact that his whole life was about chess. I like the fact that he was kind of a recluse and weird. Psychologically also relate, or I feel like I can understand, right? Even if it's not the same, but I feel like part of his tragic upbringing, his psychology is something that I actually makes him human for me. And more interesting, actually. And I think that the fact that he managed to achieve what he did, despite his upbringing, speaks even more about his immense dedication. Because I think there are a lot of players today who were very, very loved and nurtured and had come from like very, very supportive families who flew them around everywhere, who accompanied them around everywhere. And the fact that Fisher pretty much did it pretty much alone from when he was a very, very young kid is remarkable and also makes me, sympathize with that. Uh, if it weren't for Fisher, people like Karpov, I find Karpov, his game's extremely sexy, like super, super hot. I would like to learn how to play like Karpov one day. I have a book of his games and I want to go through it. It's just like every time I see his games, I'm just in awe. Like, I'm almost like, oh my God, that's too hot. So, Karpov, people like Morphe, but I haven't seen enough games by other greats to tell you like, okay, this guy is better than this guy for me, or like I like this guy better than this guy. Like, I haven't seen enough, so my opinion will probably change. I have kind of like a fangirly kind of personality. I admire talent when I see it, and it's not like sometimes I say like I gush over people, and it's not like it's not a like romantic or sexual. It's born out of pure admiration and love for a person. So the more like sexy games I see, the more I'll probably want to fangirl over everybody. In terms of modern day players, uh, my favorite probably is Noterbeck. I mean, let's just say, out of the games I've seen, I admire him a lot. But more so, I admire his character and his persona. I was very, very impressed the first time I saw him, and just by how calm the guy is, because he has a lot of traits. He exemplifies a lot of qualities that I personally don't have. His calm, his maturity, his dedication, his focus. He's also kind of like Fisher in a way, and I think he said his favorite player is Fisher, and that he's like 100% of my life is dedicated towards chess, and he's like, I have no emotions, which I can't relate. But I respect his calm energy, his respectful energy, and you can just tell that the kid has good, good character. He's brought up well. He's kind. Has a good heart, which I like. I like that a lot. I also really like Ding for a lot of similar reasons. Very sweet, very. Just when I see Ding, I'm like, oh my God, Ding. And I would love to be his friend one day. I'd love to meet him one day. So I really like Ding. I like Nepo too. So I was like heartbroken during the World Championship match because I knew I'd be heartbroken no matter who won. But I like a lot of players. I'm a fangirl of a lot of players. So yeah, because they're all brilliant. Hazy Gone Official asks, oh my God, hi, can you coach me out of 600 elo? How do I say this? I think that if you're under 1,000 elo, you have the ability to coach yourself out of at least to 1,000 elo. And I think a lot of that is just getting familiar with the game. Just to, because in the beginning, it's all about just hang pieces. Like in the beginning, I think losing a lot of games is just due to, okay, you didn't know, like, your knight is just going to be took there. It's just hanging there. Or like, just like basic stuff like that. So like the more you play, the better your sense of where your pieces are. That sense will improve over time. And at least for me, I find that just with time, I will naturally improve. I didn't have a coach up to now, and people have wanted to coach me. But at least for myself, I like the process of learning and discovery and exploration more so than I care about the results. So people have offered me to speed up the process or to get me X, Y, Z results. And I think I've just been like, okay, just like very lukewarm about the idea because like I said, I enjoy the process of exploration, and I think that is a solitary venture for myself. Knowledge is one of those things that you can just read from a book, that you can definitely learn and absorb on your own. But I think a lot of my problems or flaws have to do with just self-control and other, let's say, personality. I don't want to know if you want to call them weaknesses, but things like tilting, lack of self-control, poor management, time management, sleep schedule, basically doing things when I'm not in a space to make good decisions, have more to do with the soft things that aren't really chess related per se. And I know a coach can help with that, but only if you know me better than myself. And I'm sorry to say that, but rarely have I found people who know me better than myself. And if you do, or you can say very enlightening or, elucidating things about me, I'll be very impressed, and I'll be like, ooh, nice. Tell me more. Firebolt asks, he says, do you dream about chess? Do I dream about chess? The answer is I do, and I actually dream quite frequently about chess. I don't dream that I'm at a tournament or I'm playing a person or that it's like a chess related thing, like I'm on my computer playing chess. I actually just dream about the board and the pieces, almost like I am the piece and I am trying to go for checkmate. Like there'll be some kind of position, I'm trying to work on it. I'm like, how do I checkmate the king? Do I move the bishop here? Do I capture the piece? It's not like I'm Magnus, who actually like subconsciously processes positions and tries to understand positions deeper in his dreams. I don't think I see real positions or actual even real mating attacks or anything. It's just like somehow my dream, I'm trying to deliver checkmate somehow without really knowing where the pieces are. And I don't ever remember like what the position is when I wake up. It's just like I do dream about chess. Daniel Roberts asks, okay, so here's a slew of questions that have to do with chess fear and anxiety. He asks, I'm 1759, but literally nervous to play rapid because I'm worried about tanking my rating, lol. Pratham says, hi Belisa, I'm currently 1400 elo in 85 games, but I am getting worried that I will get stuck in 1600 to 1700 range for a long time. Are you experiencing that since you are in that range? And Devon Gibran asks, how do you get rid of that elo anxiety? I stay on 1400 because I'm too scared to click that play button. And I answer these, I answer Pratham, why worry? You can do whatever you can train and believe yourself to do. I'm saying, I don't think I'm stuck. I may be here, but it's more a reflection of my life. It doesn't have to be your journey. So I'm kind of enjoying that ride. That's kind of like my philosophy in life. Like, why worry about certain things that may or may not even happen? And I know that some chess players actually do this because a lot of people who are natural warriors and have anxiety actually do well in chess because they're able to see threats more. At least, this is just my theory. I'm not sure, but I see people with these certain personality tendencies to be very cautious in life, very cautious and meticulous, and like planning everything out just in case. These people tend to be good at chess because they pay more attention to detail, they have more sense of threats, and they have a good sense of defense, and they can plan things out because they're more used to doing that in real life. I naturally do not do that. So I think a lot of times I'm overconfident or I don't see threats, etc., etc. That's just me personally. But I guess the good side of that is I'm not afraid to fail. And so me playing chess, I'm not afraid to lose because I'm aware that losing is a part of the process. You don't win until you lose. And I actually say here that losers are only losers because they haven't lost enough to start winning. And I don't know if you agree with that because, let's say maybe not if you're like a gambling addict and you lost all your money, but I think there's two sides. Right? There are people who lose and just keep losing because they never learned the lesson, and there are people who lose by default because they're too scared to even try. So whether you're like too much of a loser, like because you're too risk taking to an unhealthy degree, without enough self-awareness to pull back and reflect on yourself, or if you're just too scared and cautious and too risk averse that you never take a chance on anything and don't try enough times and that's why you fail. Both are two extremes that you kind of have to work through and balance yourself out, no matter where on the spectrum you are. Right? If you just keep losing and never progress past a certain point, that means that you should stop and do some more introspection to find out the reasons why you may be doing poorly and trying to work on that, improve that. And the people who are too afraid to try should just go out and fail a bunch of times so that they learn that rejection and failure are not going to kill them. Only going to make you stronger. So that's just my philosophy. So I'm not scared. To answer your question, I'm not scared. And I think during this ELO journey, because I am putting myself out there, on the internet, people have lost faith in me throughout this process. There was a period when I was like in the 1600s, and I don't know if I almost, not that I lost faith in myself, but I was feeling frustration. I think that kind of carried through, and people were like, oh, like, it's okay. You should be happy if you ever hit 1700, or like, it's okay to take a break, and it's okay if you never reach a goal, etc., etc. And I know they meant well. But in my heart, I like kind of, I knew that, like, I believed in myself. I always had faith in myself. And people may think that I wasn't serious or that I was kind of just in it for shits and giggles. But I knew that when I set a goal, and it's very reasonable. Like I said in my last video, it's very reasonable for me. Like there was no doubt in my mind that I will get there eventually. Like who knows when, but like eventually. And I'll make another video on how I got out of my chess rut. But you know, sometimes you will feel frustration that you're not improving the way you want to be, or anxiety that you're going to lose. But when you just embrace the process of learning that your failures and your losses are the greatest learning opportunities you have, then I think that mentality is better than just treating each loss like the end of the world. And I think in one of my recent daily videos, I talk about how chess is more brutal than life, because life is like a, if you want to call it a game, life is an adventure where you have a lot of chances, where life is continuous, right? Life is not a one game thing. If you like fail, right, you don't even have to think of it as failure. If something doesn't go your way, it's always a secret concealed opportunity for you to learn and grow, etc., etc. And there's a lot of things, a lot of setbacks in life that are not the end all be all. And chess, because if you take one game too seriously, it will feel like such a big deal. Like, oh, I'm going to lose this game, and I'm feeling like whatever about it. But actually, chess is not like life, and that in one game, one blunder can reverse the whole situation. It will lose you the position, it will lose you the game. However, you can think of chess also as not like one unitary standalone thing, but also as a sequential thing, like a series of games. So not just one standalone game, but chess is life as in a series of games. And that you might lose some, win some, and then lose some, and learn, and then win more later. And that is more analogous to life, I would say, than just one game on its own. I don't know if I explained that very well, but I think the process of learning from your mistakes in chess and getting better for the next game is very much kind of like how you would treat your life. All right, now we're on to the fun stuff. So, one of the most frequent questions I've gotten is if I have an IG. And yeah, the Twitter stuff, social media. Basically, other than YouTube, really, I don't do social media. I'm not a very social person or social media person. And the reason for this, well, there's a lot of reasons. There's tons of reasons, but some big ones are, one, I think things like Instagram especially kind of breed just narcissism and self-promotion. And before I had an Instagram, and I deleted it because I was like, okay, sure, I can post, I can look gorgeous and sexy and people will like it. But like, do I need these people to tell me that I'm sexy? No, I don't. If you basically have self-worth and self-value and confidence stemming from yourself, I don't think you need to rely on external sources to tell you to like your pictures or tell you such and such for you to feel good about yourself. So I didn't like the factor of caring about social opinion or even wanting to cater to social opinion or to present myself a certain way, to feel pressure about a certain thing. I, in general, don't really care for that. I don't care about image building or really just like self-branding. And I know that's all the rage with everything these days, like self-marketing. Everything is about building a brand and selling yourself as a brand. And I want to say that I don't see myself as a product, and I don't want to be one or a brand. I want to be a person. I want to be myself. I don't want to have to sell an image or divorce myself from an image or curate something that's not me. So because of those things, I don't really like the superficiality and just in general the like trafficking aspects of social media, the self-promotion aspects, the time drainage aspects. I would rather spend the time, also like it creates another avenue for people to like DM you and stuff. And just like, honestly, I think I would rather spend my energy and focus and time reading a book, writing, doing anything, playing chess, exercising, going off somewhere, etc., etc., etc. I'd rather spend my time doing many, many, many other things than be on social media, look at what you ate for lunch, keep up with likes and follows, etc. It's not important to me. I don't want to say, like, can I say it's meaningless? But it doesn't appeal to me. Okay. So Faizan asked me, hello, how are you? Oh, thank you for asking. I am good. I am actually really good. Today I did cry in the library because I was really moved by something. I was reading and then it reminded me of my personal feelings. I just like broke down crying. But that's just normal for me. It's normal to have emotions. I do feel sad and angry and negative and etc. sometimes. But in general, I'd say I feel at peace and I feel happy. Even if there's things that I'm missing or that I would want or people or etc., in general, I feel much, much, much more at peace with myself. And I think that's because I value my peace so, so much more than before. Before I would I say like I sought out drama, but maybe subconsciously I did. Like there were things that happened and I can't explain it other than part of me sought out drama. Whether for excitement or for, I don't know, it just like with different priorities now or like different values. And now I value my peace of mind so, so much that there are a lot of things I just don't want to be in, situations I don't want to be in, people I don't want to be with, because it's like nothing is more important than my freaking sanity, my peace of mind, my health, my freedom, my happiness. And I think because I value them myself, I take care of myself in that way. I look out for myself and I make sure that those aren't being impinged upon, like that I'm not gonna suffer in that respect. So I feel good, and I would encourage you to do the same for yourself. XX Play Music Game asks, where am I from? I am from planet Earth, baby. I am from the East Coast in the US and also the West Coast in the US and also from China. Because I have roots in all of those places, I go to all of those places, and I still spend a lot of my time in China, but also the US, and also abroad. So if you ask me where I'm from, I don't know what to say. It depends on what you mean, but I would say, yeah, the US and China. That's kind of how I grew up, and because that's kind of in my blood, I am like a migrant bird. Mr. Daniel asks, can you tell us a bit about yourself, like what you do for a living? Very interesting. I have done a lot of things to make money, including, let's say, okay, so I've been a tutor. I tutored and taught subjects ranging from elementary school subjects to middle school subjects to high school subjects to college subjects to the GRE, teaching kids and adults in test prep, college applications, freaking just a lot of things. Yes, I've been a tutor. I've been I've given presentations, I've been a tour guide, I've been a host. I I've worked in the film industry as an actor, director, writer, second assistant director and casting, as a background actor. I have been a designer, an artist, a painter. I've even worked in Subway for a brief stint to gain life. In Chinese, it's called 体验生活, which is part of being an actor, is learning to wear different hats and learn about different occupations so you gain more experience in life. And there's a period when I actually I fantasized about doing every single occupation ever just for the experience of it. Of course, there are limitations in terms of talent, skill, ability, and also ethical constraints. But that was just kind of like an interesting idea I had. Other things I wanted to be were a pastry chef, internationally renowned pastry chef, a detective, a designer, a fashion designer, a hairstylist. There's a lot more. But I actually have tried a lot of things. I do cut hair, my own hair, other people's hair. I do design things. There are a lot of things I do that don't make any money, but your question has to do with for a living. I've also driven for Uber or Lyft. What else have I done? That's when I really was desperate for money. I really wanted to make money. I guess now, like, I don't know if you count streaming or doing YouTube, but honestly, it doesn't really make much. I've house sat, pet sat, taking care of pets, taking care of animals, which I really enjoy, even though that doesn't make doesn't really make money, but I like it a lot. So there are things that make a lot of money, but I don't like, so I don't do. Like the tutoring stuff, there are certain things that I don't care to do. Oh, teaching chess. I do teach chess. So basically, if you ask me what I do, I'd say like a handful or more of things, depending on the weather, depending on opportunity. You could call me a freelancer or self-employed or et cetera, but I don't want to define myself as a particular X, Y, and Z, because before I used to be very attached to my identity. I used to be like, hi, I am this, and I define myself based on my role. Okay, I was also a research analyst, environmental activist, volunteer. I mean, name your roles. There could be any amount of roles that I could play in society, but I don't think any of those define who I am. And I am also constantly changing, evolving, being an organism as opposed to a defined role and set of expectations that I am supposed to play. So in that sense, I've always tried to break boundaries, my personal limitations and societal norms or expectations of who I should be and what I should do. And so in that sense, I can't tell you like what I am, like what do I do for a living, like this is me, this is this. And I think a lot of people want to define themselves as this, and that has to do with the self-branding and promotion again. It's like, it's easier for people to define or classify people in terms of categories, like you're this or this or this. But I think I've always longed or desired or like freedom. I like freedom and I don't like the limitations. And so I like being able to do all of these things when I want to do them, when I want to do them, and yes, basically when I want to do them. I was like, does that go on? But no, yeah. So yeah, I do a lot of things. And to kind of link to the next question, Time Guy asks, I'm more interested in what you do, that you travel so much, super jealous. So yeah, I can't say I actually make a lot of money, and it seems like I should be making a lot of money to support a lifestyle of traveling a lot, but the truth is, you don't need a lot of money to travel. You actually don't need much money. And it depends on what you like to do traveling. I like to live for the adventure and exploration and experience of it, which means I go to a place and I want to immerse myself in a certain culture or with people or learn things or just a certain vibe and ambiance I'm going to soak up. It's not about hitting X, Y, and Z landmark, taking a bunch of pictures, posting through social media, and then going home and bragging about it to my friends. In fact, most of the things I experience when I'm somewhere traveling, I rarely share with anybody, if at all, because I kind of given up on that. When I was younger, I wanted to find a soulmate, somebody I could share everything under the sun with. And then I realized that nobody will ever share your experience or frankly care or understand about it in the same way. Kind of because they weren't there. It's just kind of like a cognitive limitation. Like, you can describe it all you want, but like, they're not you and they can't experience it. So like, some things are just personal and they're just meant to be just absorbed. So I really, really love traveling alone. I love being in a place where I don't have a sense of time or urgency. When you're with a tour group with other people, like, you always feel pressured. Like, when I was younger with my family, like, it was all about like, now we're gonna go to this thing, and now you and you take pictures. Now you take a picture with you. Now it's a whole family taking a picture, and now you take a solo picture, and then now on to the next destination. And I felt very much, oh, okay, okay, okay. And sometimes, like, when I'm by myself, I can sit in like an historical ruin. I can sit on the steps of this ancient Roman theater for the whole afternoon and just do some sketches, just to like philosophize or like daydream a little bit, or just to like, okay, what if I'm like an ancient Roman watching the theater right now? Like, what is that like? Like, let me just sit in and soak in the vibe. And I really, really like that. I don't feel pressured. I don't feel controlled. And that opens you up to a lot of experience that you wouldn't otherwise not have. There's a lot of conversation with strangers, people you meet, friends you meet, who will open your eyes and tell you things because you're open to experience or not limiting yourself by a set of predetermined X, Y, and Z destinations are gonna hit, etc. I know that was kind of like beside your question. I was kind of like, one day I'll probably make a travel video and like I'll share one of my travel experiences with you guys and share some photos and sketches, etc. about certain places. I've loved Myanmar. Myanmar was really, really awesome. Myanmar. I really loved Brazil that I recently went to. There are a lot of experiences. Vietnam was also interesting in its own way. Very, very interesting. Very interesting people. Anyway, there are a lot of stories, but the point about what I do that I travel so much is simply that I want to. And you can actually do pretty much actually a lot of things you want to without feeling constrained by finances, right? People think, and okay, so the reason why I was like, I don't make a lot, but I can do this, is because I don't actually have that many material needs besides, I guess, what it costs to buy plane tickets to go visit my family in China or etc. Some people want to have a house, they want to have a luxury car, they want to wear Balenciaga, etc., etc. Name your possession. I don't actually care for any of those things, so I don't feel a need to attain those objects. Because I don't have a need to amass material wealth, I can spend my energy and resources doing things that I like for the experience, for the exploration, for the learning. So while some people may want to do something else with their money, I would rather put that into going to a place that I've always wanted to go to. And that's why I travel. But also a lot of the reason why I travel is because I have people that I want to be with and want to meet. Like my grandparents, like before I would actually go to different places. Oh yeah, France. France was super, super special too. I did this artistic journey in France. But that was during COVID. But like, there was a lot of things that now I feel like if I have time, I mostly want to go to China because mostly I want to be with my grandparents. And so that's my priority because I value spending time with them. I make that my priority. And so I make it happen. I don't think it has much to do with what I do. Well, actually, no, it does. It does, I guess, because I guess for most people, they don't have the time or they don't have the vacation. So I'm very lucky and privileged in that aspect that I can do that because I don't work a 9 to 5. And I think that's probably the reason why I don't work a 9 to 5 is so that I can have that freedom. Before someone asked me a question of like what I value most in life, and I said I value connection and meaning. And while I still value, I value those things a lot, but I thought about this question more, and I think it would be remiss of me not to say that I also effing value my freedom and my peace of mind and my happiness. Like, I really, I would say actually I value those things the most. I value my peace of mind, my freedom, and my happiness, and meaning and connection. And so I think that's why I never felt like I wanted to do a normal job. And it's actually very, very hard for me to work under a boss, especially if that person's very micromanaging. I've had bad experiences doing that because I always felt like I wanted to come in with ideas to innovate and do things better, or have some innovation or creativity. And most people like employees who are rule followers and who will just say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, I will get it done, and don't shake things up too much. And so I think I always felt like I didn't have a voice, or my voice was repressed, or I didn't have any value because of things that I felt like I want to be most valued for, or things I think are most valuable myself, were just not at all recognized or accepted, or that it had no place in that system. It had no place in the organization, or I want to say even in society. That's a little drastic, but it's, I want to say I'm a creative person who, doesn't have a normal role. Okay, Joris Book asks, you live in the US but have Chinese roots, right? Do you consider yourself more Western American or Eastern Chinese, or both? Or does it depend? Culturally, there are major differences between both. How has this shaped you? And I remember this question, and I wanted to save it for a moment when I could address it. Okay, so when I was younger, I prided myself on a special ability I had. Like, basically when I was a teenager or a child, like growing up, and I would travel back and forth between China and the US, visiting my family, coming back to go to school, etc., etc. I felt like I had a very, very special ability to have a light switch in my brain that toggled between Chinese mode and American mode. When I was in China, I could speak 100% Chinese, be native, like have nobody think I'm a foreigner, and just mingle with people and work with my family, and I felt like I was extremely in Chinese mode. Back in the US, I flipped on the switch. I'm American. Nobody thinks I'm a foreigner. I'm like, I'm American. So I used to flip the switch on and off. But then one year I was abroad in China for an extended amount of time. And I have a friend there, a Japanese friend, who I was trying to explain this light switching thing to. And I was trying to say that, like, okay, some people mix the identities or mix the cultures or become both. But I can be both this and this and keep them almost separate. And he's like, I got it. He's like, I understand. Like, you're saying that this guy is like an espresso and this guy is like this, but you are like a latte. And I was like, no, man. I'm like, this is the exact opposite of what I'm saying. I'm saying that I'm not mixing it. I can be both the espresso and the cappuccino, whatever. I don't know enough about coffee. So what is the equivalent? I can be both the milk and the espresso. I don't know what I'm saying. Because I'm like, I can be both. He's like, yeah, you are the latte. And I'm like, no. But the funny thing about that whole year, and after talking with him and like this whole experience, is that I did become the latte. Unwillingly or unknowingly, I became the latte because I couldn't keep them apart anymore. Eventually, too much of Chinese culture and philosophy seeped into my brain that I could no longer ignore the influence it has over my entire being. So even when I'm in American mode, I couldn't feel totally American. And same when I'm in China, I can't feel totally Chinese because both of my identities have completely melded and metamorphosized into something that's, I don't know. I guess I'm the latte. All right, you're right. You're right, I'm the latte. Yes, this has to do with also I had a course on classical Chinese that completely changed my life. I was reading Confucius, Laozi, Zhuangzi, Mengzi. So in the Confucian train of thought, you have the Analects and you have Mencius, the main two works in Confucian philosophy. And then in Taoism, you have Laozi and Zhuangzi. Zhuangzi is Nanshan. Zhuangzi is like a male god, super hot. He writes, I once read a line, I was like, Zhuangzi writes philosophy, writes ideas like poetry. Like, oof, if you ever read the Chinese in it, it's like, it's the most beautiful thing you've ever written, like, ever read. It's so beautiful. Okay, so those philosophies have really, really affected how I think, and I'm really grateful because it gave me a compass and a sense of direction and purpose and meaning. And I think for a lot of people, and they feel adrift and lost and meaningless, whether or not it's finding a spiritual practice, a religion, or a philosophy. I mean, a religion is pretty much a philosophy, but a set of values and beliefs to anchor yourself with, then it's like a compass in a dark night. You know where to go because you have a set of values that guide you. So for me, a lot of these philosophies, plus the spiritual things I read later on, that are rooted in deep ancient traditions of all the major religions, from Zen, from Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, etc., all the big strains of philosophies and religion, those set of beliefs and spiritual practices, plus the classical Chinese philosophies, all have merged into forming a set of values that I like to use as my personal compass. So I'm not sure if I kind of drifted from this main question, but if we're talking about differences between the cultures, I mean, there are certain things that you could say I find it still strange to navigate, and it's hard for me to navigate. Let's just name one like personal and also like a specific example. For example, dating. Like American dating is something that I've always been kind of like weirded out by, or like never felt like I understood. Hookup culture and just the whole dating ecosystem, I always felt like I just couldn't understand. Even now, it's like hard to wrap my mind around. Intellectually, like you can understand it, but it's like emotionally, it's hard for me to understand. Like the thing, like people, like my friend had explained to me for a very long time, like what it meant to call someone like to be boyfriend girlfriend versus just dating, versus like making it official versus whatever. I'm like, wait. I'm like, if you're dating, like, why wouldn't you call this your boyfriend? Like, why wouldn't you call this person your girlfriend? Or like, and then he's like, no, that makes it official. You have to clarify, you have to define the relationship. And I'm like, wait. So that got me into a lot of trouble, because sometimes I would assume, like, I would think, like, okay, if you hold my hand, or like if we do certain things, then that means that I hold you in a certain way. That means that I treat you in a certain way, and that you are a certain relationship with me. But then I realized, like, they don't see it that way because we didn't define their relationship. And I don't know if I think in Chinese culture, there are a lot of things that are unsaid or unspoken, and very much so, I think sometimes you don't, but I think nowadays the culture is also, there is a lot of casual stuff, and like, I guess people don't also define a lot of things, but like, I think in general, like, and I guess some societies, it's like understood that you're doing a certain thing, you're in a certain relation, but like, I don't know, that's just one example, but it's hard for me to anyway, that's one example of the cultural difference. And I don't know, in my struggle in navigating different cultural expectations, I suppose. What's another example? Another example is, but I think that's just me. Yeah, there are some things that are cultural differences, and there are some things that are just like personal struggles. Like whenever I was like outspoken or vocal, I think in certain places, like people want to assume that like, oh, you're American, so that's why you like are like this in a work environment. But actually, when I'm in an American work environment, I also kind of maybe rub people the wrong way, or like I'm not doing things right. But I think that's just my personal problem, that's my personal problem. Anyway, this I could write a book about this. But yeah. But yeah, very interesting question, and I'm glad I got to share a little bit of my musings with you. John Henry asks, "Are those your drawings?" These things on the wall, most of them, there are a lot of postcards, cards, things I've gotten, and that painting up there is mine. On the other wall that you see sometimes in videos, most of those things on that wall are my drawings or designs. One day I might share my artwork with you and my website and my art, and if you would want to buy art from me, you can actually let me know somehow, and maybe I'll share my link with you, but I don't know if I want to share it right now because yes, yes, it's really weird. Like, again, it's a social media thing. Like, it's really weird. I am kind of being more public and sharing myself on YouTube. Actually, sharing myself every single day. But by nature, I'm a very private person who actually wants to be anonymous. So I've been struggling with this a little bit. And so part of me wants to share things, more and more things with you. And I'm doing this Q&A video. I shared a lot about my effing self. But another part of me just wants to disappear into the woods somewhere and not be found and not be known and be anonymous. So so part of me wants to share my art, and part of me just be like, oh no, 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 no. So I don't know. I will resolve this somehow one day, but as for now, I will not share it right now, but eventually. Okay. I think that's that. I think I've talked a lot, and that's that for now. I appreciate you. My mic did cut off in the middle, so I'm sorry. I might have to re-record it, or you're just gonna have to deal with the sucky audio for half of the video. I'm sorry. But this was interesting, and if you have more questions, etc., you can feel free to let me know, but I may not respond, or not answer, reply. Yeah. I appreciate you. Yeah. Thank you so much.